All right, all right. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. We're going to go ahead and get started with the training for day two. Welcome everybody to training day two, which is going to be on scope and, technical and field, where we're going to cover a lot of the information that you need to know in the field to make you successful for working with our award-winning team. We're going to be covering a lot today on paperwork, the CRM, the Google Drive, pretty much anything that you need to know as far as for the call center, how appointments are set. We're also going to be hearing from Britton Sender later today, the COO, also the call center manager on appointments. Okay, so it's going to be a very, very productive day. Please make sure for this section, also for this video, that you do have all your material out in front of you as well, along with your notebook, so that you can take notes. Notes as well. Now, at the end of this day today, guys, day two, once you've completed day one and day two, you will be given a link, which you probably already have, guys, for a test, a 10-question test, or sorry, a 10-question quiz that you need to get 80% or above on. So please make sure that at the conclusion of this training for day two, technical and field, that you go back and that we do get that test completed or that quiz completed. So make sure that you get that done. Also, quick note, if you have not turned in your new hire paperwork yet, please make sure that you do print that off, get that signed, and sent into corporate@authorizedinternational.com as soon as possible before the conclusion of the training. Most of us should actually have it in before we started the training, but please make sure that you do get that stuff in. So with that being said, same functionality of the video. Please make sure that you're paying very close attention. We do like to keep these sections of training, guys, very informative, to the point, and very productive. Okay, so make sure that you write down any questions that you might have in your notebook that we can cover later in an email or of a phone conversation with your national accounts director or myself, or one of the other managers in the office. So please make sure, guys, that you write down those questions and that you pay very close attention to each section. Also, you do have the ability to pause the video too, rewind if you do have any questions or any issues or a part that you didn't catch, but make sure that you get every part of the training through. Okay, so the agenda for today, what we're going to be covering is we're going to go through the section. We're going to be covering the statement training. We're also going to be covering the tool called the Perfect Paperwork. We're also going to go into a live presentation of the Google Drive, as well as the call center and appointments. We're going to round the day off with prospecting, the power of prospecting. What do we do in the field from our top performers that make $200,000 to $300,000 a year? What do they do? How do they prospect? What leads to their success? And we're going to cover what that is. And then at the end, we're going to have that quiz. Okay, like I said, guys, please note that you must score above 80% on that quiz. There's 10 questions. You need to get at least 8 out of 10 of them correct. Okay, so please stay focused on this. So that's what we are going to be covering today in this video. So first off, we're going to start with the CMS, or what we call the credit card processing statement, or the merchant statement is what we would call it in our industry. There's many different names. And this is essential. Okay, gathering this document. Because if you know the steps to the sale, one of the steps is to obtain a statement. That's going to be the key. Now, before we get into this part, it's very important to know that every merchant has access to their bill. Whether they have it there or not, they have legal access to get a bill, to get a statement, okay, no matter what. So every statement is available, okay, but as far as for obtaining a statement in those steps of the sale, if the merchant does give you some sort of resistance, or there's always a way around it. There's always an answer to every question, right? There's always a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. The merchant doesn't have the statement with them during the sale. You don't want them to ruin that part of the sale. That's a step. So we say, well, great, no problem. Well, let's do this. What we can do is, do you have any statement laying around in the back, or from the past, just to kind of get an idea of what cards? No, I don't have anything with me. Okay, great. Well, what we can do is we can call your current company right now. I'll call them for you. You have to verify your Social Security and that kind of stuff or whatever, but then I can have them email me a statement right now, or email us or fax us a statement right now for tax purposes or something, or whatever you need to tell them to get them to send over a statement. You don't want to tell them what they're there for. Just, we need a statement. I'm a friend helping out. I need a statement from the last month or last 2 months for tax purposes, the bookkeeper or whatever. Get a statement. Okay, there's always a way to do that. If they don't have a statement, you still can move through the steps of the sale. At this point, you'd call your manager. You might say, okay, great. Well, you can actually work a mock analysis off of batch receipts, okay, which are usually kept to the business. They're printed off every day at the end of the day, and you can take an average of all the batch receipts from the terminal, work some numbers with your national accounts director to get an analysis off. The main goal with this is to get the accurate numbers to see what we can do for that merchant. Okay, so it's very important to get a statement. Now, does that mean if they say, oh, they don't have a statement, so I left the business? No. Okay, if we're 20 minutes away and you call your manager and they say, oh, they didn't have a statement, so I left, well, guys, you're not going to be working for us for very long. Okay, so please make sure that you know that if there's any point in time where you run into a roadblock, you call your national accounts director, get their advice. Okay, our national accounts directors have been in the field for at least a year to a year and a half and have shown excellent quality in closing deals as far as for running management calls, and they've been face to face with merchants many times. Okay, so please make sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the statement. Now, why do we go over the statement? Well, we go over the statement just so that we know what it looks like. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing, a credit card statement, right? Well, yeah, kind of. Most merchants don't know how to read this thing, okay? And they all look different. Not only do they all look different, but we have those two pricing models that we talked about in video 1, and most of the time, 90% of the merchants you meet, 99% of them won't know how to read it. The only thing they care about is how much they pay, okay, right? So, but we need to know what it looks like because we're going to be sending it in for an analysis. We don't want to send in a Verizon bill, right, or a cable bill from the business and say, hey, we need analysis, or a bank statement. We can't do an analysis off a bank statement either. We need a merchant processing statement. And this is what it looks like. It's a pretty simple bill as far as there's a first page, a second page. They all look different, but they all have the same information on them. And don't feel nervous because you won't know how to read a statement. It's okay. I never knew how to read a statement until I start 8 months into this industry or 6 months into this industry. It really doesn't matter. That's why we have the people in the office, okay? But it's good to know what they look like, and you're going to start picking up small product knowledge things along the way when you learn, to know what a statement looks like. And usually the first part of the statement, somewhere on there, it'll say total amount deducted from their account, total bill. It'll say, this is what you had as far as for a fee or whatever, but it's going to give you a bigger total. Okay, so on this page, it shows on the total monthly processing fee of $1,176.50. So if you look on there or you look on that screen, it's going to have the business address on it. It's going to say that the name of that, the month. Maybe there's some attention, some notifications or whatever. Page 1 of 5. We just need to know when you do send in a statement that we need all the as many pages as you can to get an accurate analysis. Okay, we're going to go to the next page. This would obviously be page 2 of that statement. And on the statement, there's always going to be some sort of summary, which is kind of a breakdown. It gives that merchant an idea of the types of cards, debit cards, credit cards, whether it's a Visa, MasterCard, Discover. It also lists American Express. It'll take somewhere on there. It'll say the number of transactions. It'll also say the amount of the sale. And then it'll give you some sort of total. It'll always give you a total. Okay, so if you look on this statement right here, the total is going to be listed right there. It shows that they had 1,500 transactions, and it shows here the volume, $51,701.50. So obviously you can look at the statement, and there's that volume right there, the 51,000. You can take the bill, the bill that was on the first page, the amount that was charged, and divide it by the amount they did in sales. And that's going to tell you or tell the merchant what their effective rate is, right? How effective are they being? What is their rate? Well, I pay 2.3%. Well, that's probably what they're talking about. They take their bill divided by their gross. Okay. Now, if you keep looking, it's going to have summary of card fees, how it's broken down. This merchant is priced out in a tiered and interchange model. So there's both pricing programs on there. But like I said, we don't need to know too much about that. But then somewhere on the back of the statement, so this is one of the last pages of the statement, okay, it's going to be page 3, right? Page 3, page 4. On the other one, it could be 15. It could be on page 2. Very, very, very simple. But on the back, it's going to list summary of miscellaneous charges and fees. And these are those back-end fees that merchants don't like, okay, like PCI compliance. This merchant is not PCI compliant. They're actually at risk for fraud because if they take a bad charge and they're not PCI compliant, they could be fined up to $25,000 to $30,000 to $40,000, which actually for a small to mid-sized business would put them out of business. Now remember, guys, these are fees and they're fines. If the merchant gets a fine, they don't have an option to pay a fine over time. They have to pay it or they're going to be in big trouble. So it's important to look at that on the bill to say, oh, look, it looks like you have a PCI compliant fee on here. We make sure, within our guarantee letter and everything with our merchants that they're PCI compliant and EMV compliant. It's not a scare tactic, but it's a really good way to kind of assess the merchant and where they're at. All right, now that section of miscellaneous fees is obviously blown up, and you can kind of see that it's not only the processing, but all these other fees that add up. So not the $1,000 is the total bill for the processing, it's that plus other fees possibly also the equipment charge divided by the sales is going to give them their effective rate. Now, most of the time on a statement, they're not going to have the equipment charge. They're not going to have the equipment charge on the processing statement. That's going to come separately as a separate bill. The only way that it would be on a processing statement is if they're renting the terminal as a rent program, which I have seen maybe 1 out of every 50 to 150 deals. Okay, so it's not very often that they get that on there. So you want to ask them, hey, did you pay for the equipment, or are you paying on the equipment, so that we can include that into the analysis? Because sometimes they're already in a lease, and it makes more sense for them to pay that lease off along with our lease and still save money than to just try and cancel the lease. Okay, it happens a lot. You know, if the lease costs them $60 and our lease costs them $50 or $60, and then their processing plus that is cheaper than what they were paying before, then it makes sense for them just to pay that. Okay, then pay the cancellation. All right, so that's what the last page looks like. Now, if you look at the summary, the business is at risk for fraudulent charges. It's a big thing that you want to point out because of EMB and PCI compliance. It says PCI non-validation. Now, we went over PCI compliance and what that was earlier in video 1, but the merchant, okay, is at risk. Okay, the merchant is at risk for taking bad transactions. So we need to make sure we point that out and say that, you know, we make sure that you're PCI compliant. We give you a survey that you need to fill out every 6 months to make sure that you are compliant. And right now you're not. So, you know, let's get you set up with a program is going to see. So that's one thing to look for on there. Okay, so that's what the statement looks like. Now, what does the analysis look like? So what step of the sale is that? After we obtain a statement, we send it in to our national accounts director. We send it in to our manager. Okay, and then we're going to do a manager call. Now, on that manager call, they're going to ask a series of questions. And what they're going to do is they're going to submit this statement along with those questions for an approval. That's that approval code that you're going to write down in front of the merchant. Now, when you write down that approval code, then your manager is going to be sending you this. This is going to be an analysis. Now, this one looks like it's an analysis for a traditional processing deal, okay, a regular processing deal. And we're going to go over how to go over this with your merchant. So it's important to understand. You're going to be going over this and you're going to present it. This is your presentation. You're going to have 2 of these, most cases. You're going to have one that's going to show DTI with no rates. And you're going to have one with the Tier 1 program with rates that the merchant qualified for. Okay, so when you present this, this is how you present it. You present it with authority. You present it with you're excited that they got qualified for the program. You present it like, let me show you what we're going to do. And you might even want to sneak in a little assuming the sales statement. So what I used to do when I used to present this, I used to say, John, so let me show you what this looks like. So I make sure I had their full and undivided attention. I'd say, John, so we did the analysis off this statement right here. So if I was to come in 30 days previous to this statement and set you up just like I'm going to today, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, that one statement alone saying this is what it's going to look like when I set you up today. So you're already assuming the sale. And now I present the program. So this is what the analysis looks like. Now there's a bunch of little boxes on there, but we're going to make sure that we go over this so that you understand how it works. So this is on here. It's going to say current processor right here. Okay. It's going to list the merchant's volume off that statement. It's going to list their average ticket. It's going to list the number of transactions that the merchant did and completed in that month. It's going to list the total fees, and then it's going to list the merchant's current effective rate, which here it looks like their current effective rate was 2.89%. That means they take their total bill divided by the 9,000, and that's 2.8%. It's going to show that they did 11% credit cards. That's $1,090. Okay, and it's going to show 89% debit cards. That's $8,410. Okay, it's going to show that for the transactions for credit, 38% of the 520 transactions were credit card transactions. So that's 200. Now, 62% of those transactions were debit cards. So you see here, 62% debit transactions. So of the 520, that's 325 transactions. Over here, it's going to say mid or non-qualified cards. It looks like they had $163.50 in mid and non-qualified cards. Okay, now you ask, what are mid and non-qualified cards? Well, we talked about it in video 1. These are the higher end points and rewards cards. Now, if you look at this analysis, you notice that if we're going to add up the volume, $1,410 and $1,090 adds up to $9,500. So where did this extra $160 come from? Well, of that $1,000 that were credit cards, an additional the $163.50 of that $1,090 was mid and non-qualified. So it's charged an additional 2%. So all of our rates that we got them qualified for are listed here. 1.09% for credit cards, 0.05% for debit cards, 18 cents for the number of credit card transactions, 28 cents for the number of debit transactions, 2% for the mid and non-qualified cards, 1.95% for American Express, which they don't take. So all this stuff gets added up on this right-hand corner, and it looks like their total bill with the equipment share program, statement fee, everything included is $216.36. So instead of the merchant down here paying $274.55, which matches this one, minus the authorized international charges on the same statement, looks like they're going to save $58.19. Okay, for that first year, that's going to be $690.33 per year. It's actually a monthly savings of 20%, and it brings their effective rate down to 2.28%. Now, if you look at that, 2.28%, okay, or sorry, 2.89 is what they paid before. Now they're going to pay 2.8 with us. Not only that, but guys, one benefit to our program is that yes, they're going to pay $65 a month for the equipment, but that is a full tax write-off. As a full tax write-off, Mr. Merchant, not only are you unable to pay, okay, to write off this full amount for credit card processing as expense, it's a service expense. So you only get to write $274.55. You get to write a portion of that off only for processing, as far as for an expense on your taxes. Whereas in this state, or most states, okay, you get to write off an extra $65 every month as an asset. Now, when you write that off, you're not technically saving $58. You're actually saving $123.19 every single month because you don't have to pay that in taxes. That's another benefit to the equipment share program. So you go over this in detail with them, and if it's the DTI program, this whole section right here that has rates in it will be zeroed out. Okay, on the DTI analysis, they're going to be all zeros, plus the equipment and the statement fee. That's all they'll pay. They'll pay close to about $80 a month, and it doesn't matter what volume they do. They could do $200,000 a month, and with those zero rates in there, they're only going to be paying $100 a month, and it's going to save them a lot of money. But John, not only that, not only it looks like we're going to save you about 21%. It's not a big savings, but it's enough to make a dent. $600 a month is a car payment. $600 a year is a car payment. It's like we're giving you processing for free for 3 months, right? But we also put it in writing. So if you look, we actually have a guarantee letter. And the guarantee letter says this. It says, thank you for doing business with our company. Please understand that we will not be putting you on a standard processing program. We'll be placing you on a more simpler consolidated billing platform called our DTI program, which is structured as the following. It's going to list the rates right there, and then you're going to say, look, our program is fixed as long as you're with us. Whatever program you do, the rates are locked. With our rate guarantee, if anyone can beat our price, faxes our proposal, we will meet or beat it. We have the lowest rates in the industry. The DTI program is very simple and straightforward. You have the confusing eliminating all the interchange fees and rates. The end result will show an uncomparable level of savings. Within our 4-year agreement, if we breach our end of the agreement and you're not consistently saving money, we will adjust your rates down accordingly or cancel your processing agreement with us with no cancellation fee. Okay, so make sure that you point that out. You always get a monthly statement with your terminal. You always be PCI compliant as long as you process with your compliance. Your company will be notified via mail when the survey is meant to be completed. It's guaranteed. It's put in writing. What is there to lose? What's the worst possible scenario, Mr. Merchant? At the end of the day, we have everything in writing for you. Go ahead and grab your driver's license, your voided check, and we'll go ahead and get you set up right now. Okay, so those are the tools that we give you, okay, right there. Is the savings analysis and the guarantee letter. But for this section of the training, we just want to make sure that we know what a statement looks like and what point do we send it in. Okay. So other than that, guys, just make sure that you understand that you can recognize the statement. If you need to go back in this video to replay the analysis portion, just remember the analysis that is going to be done is going to be sent over to you during your presentation. So that's something you will not need to worry about. You will not need to print off. It's part of the sale. Okay. So other than that, guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break here, and we're going to go into the next section of training, okay, or the next video part of training, which is going to be the perfect paperwork. So please make sure, guys, that you do have your notes. If you have any questions or anything, please make sure you write them down, and we will cover them after this. Talk to you guys soon. This part of training is what we call the perfect paperwork, and this part of training is not only devised to teach us on the application, So to show us on what app we fill out with the merchant, so on that step of the sale where we assume the sale and we write up the agreement, this step is, or this tool is also, or this part of training is designed to not only show us the paperwork, but it's also designed to show us how to use this specific tool. So unfortunately, guys, in processing, all right, now you'd think everything today as far as for processing is concerned, and kind of where we're at in in 2017, we would be considering that you would think that this process is pretty automated, okay, as far as for the sign-up process, which means that you'd have a little tablet, you fill out one set of documents, and they DocuSign or they e-sign, and then you're ready to roll. But unfortunately, guys, because we are dealing with multiple companies here, for the equipment share program, DTI, and ourselves, for example, there are sets of paperwork that we need to go through. Now, unfortunately, First Data is the world's biggest processor, okay, and they handle a lot of very big accounts. We work directly with First Data as well. They handle 70% of the world's transactions, and as of 2 years ago, they tried an automated system to help representatives in the field sign up electronically. And the issue with that is that it was very non-successful. It was a big flop. Okay, so unfortunately, where we're at, guys, in credit card processing is they want wet ink. They want wet ink, which unfortunately means that for us, we have to fill out paperwork. That's basically what it is. The old school, print off the applications, you fill it in, you have them sign the applications, you scan them, send them back to us, and then we get them submitted with all the documentation. Unfortunately, that's just how processing is, guys. But what that does, though, is that does, kind of keep it old school, keeps it also pretty simple as well. We are working on an automated system, not only through a couple partners of ours of getting the system automated, but like I said, there's a lot of different steps. But the system would be automated, but still attribute to paperwork, which will get sent in via paperwork. So unfortunately, it's just how the process of the industry is. So what we do in this section of training, though, is we go over a tool that we use to help you fill out the paperwork, because this is probably the fourth or fifth most important thing in the training. Obviously, guys, is that if we sell a deal, we want to make sure that our paperwork and documentation are airtight, because if the complete package is not airtight or we're missing one component, then the deal cannot go through. And unfortunately, we've done all this hard work and we've missed a signature on paperwork. We got to go back there. Now the merchant wants to pull out. They had second thoughts. You did a great job closing. But we still can't submit the deal because there's no paperwork and we still don't get paid. And that's a tragic thing. It's happened to everybody out there in sales. It's happened to myself. Lesson hard learned, but it's better to learn it now in the training than to learn it face off, right? So it's very, very, very important, guys. Okay. So give me 1 second, guys. I might have a couple interruptions because we're on a separate computer. So just please make sure, if those do pop up, we'll keep rolling with it. So anyway, we're going to use this tool. This tool that you see on the screen, guys, is going to help us out. And this is called our Perfect Paperwork. And it's a copy of a pre-filled out app or an application that's been filled out with a fake merchant. Okay, so it's just like cheating on a test. Okay, so if you didn't study for a test, if you've been to college or school or high school or whatever, and you didn't study for that test, you look to your left and there's the answers on someone else's paper. Yeah, you can't guarantee they're right, but at the end of the day, you're going to copy that information onto a blank app. So what the Perfect Paperwork is it's basically, okay, it's a set of paperwork for a fake merchant. So we're going to make this screen a little bit bigger so that we can all see it. And this is for a business called ABC Auto, which is a fictitious business that is filled out just to show you how to translate the paperwork. Now, you'd think this would be very simple, but you'd be surprised with some of the representatives we worked with and even some of the merchants. The paperwork is a little bit long, guys. There's actually a few different pages on the paperwork, so it's important to get it filled out correctly. Not only is it important to fill out correctly, but it also is going to help you save a deal, not even save the deal, but if we have, for example, a terminal programmed incorrectly, we're going to promise the world to this merchant they're going to get the terminal and it won't be programmed correctly because we haven't put in the right information, and that's a huge issue. They get it, they might throw it in the trash, and you might lose the deal because we just didn't fill out one sheet of paperwork right. So it's important to understand the paperwork and how it's filled out correctly. Even if it was an automated system online, it's still very particular. It's still very important to get it right. Okay, so we're going to go over it in detail a little bit today so that we understand the paperwork. We can go through and just make sure that we fill stuff out. So it's going to help us, complete deals, save deals, and make sure that they're productive. Okay. So the first page we have on the Perfect Paperwork is just an example of the merchant interview form. Now, you remember, guys, we have the merchant interview form to help you do this. But what step, guys, in the steps of the sale, quick review question, do we use this form, this merchant interview form? What step do we use this with?
You guys remember?
Qualifying session,
What was that, guys?
qualifying process. Was it used in the qualifying process?
Yes, perfect, exactly, bingo. Carlos, you're dead on. We use this step, or we use this merchant interview form, guys, during the interview process, during the qualification stage. That's step 2, right? So when we sit down with the merchant, we say, tell me about your business. You ask them a few different personal questions, and you say, great, well, let's get to business. You pull it out of your binder, you set it down, you fill it out, and you land them on this dislikes part, right? So you go through all the questions, but then you say, okay, great, well, what would be your likes and dislikes? And then they're going to say, well, if there's no dislikes, well, here's the dislikes. So then you land them on their effective rate, which is step 3. You get them to tell them how much you're paying. You go through that. After you go through that, then you, like we said before, we go for that green light to build up that sense of urgency. We say, so if you wouldn't have to pay that anymore, is there anything stopping you from working with us? Nope. Okay, great, fantastic. Well, let's do that. All right, so you roll with that. We fill that merchant interview form. Now, the first page of the paperwork, guys, that you're going to actually see when you print off a blank set of these pieces of paper to fill out, you'll print off 10 of these. You'll put these 10 in a paper clip, and you'll put them in your binder in order, and you'll get ready to sell deals, right? So you'll have this paperwork actually printed off, this perfect paperwork. You'll have it 3-hole punched, and you'll have it put in your pitch book so that you can always have it right when you're filling out a deal. Not only that, guys, but you will have a national accounts director that will be on the phone with you to assist you in filling out paperwork. So we will be going through a lot of stuff, but don't worry about questioning yourself or trying to be a little bit afraid of what you're filling out. So the first page of the paperwork, the actual app you'll fill out when you say, okay, great, we're on step 6. Assuming the sale, go ahead and grab your driver's license for me. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out for you, and we'll take care of business to get this done. Okay, great, awesome. All right, well, you pull this app out. This is going to be your first page. It's going to be it's called what we call the paperwork checklist. Now, in the paperwork checklist, what you're going to have the date, the office that you're working out of, your national accounts director, your manager, the name of the business. You're going to have over here a few different questions on the services. Now, like I said, guys, we're going to go through some of this, but not cover it in too much detail. You'll have questions later, but don't worry about it. We'll make sure you get it handled. The equipment, the $59.99 that we're doing, and the Deja Vu Z9 or Z8 or Z11, whichever terminal we're going to have for them, the Z9 GPRS, you'll put that there. Whether they have a point of sale system, you'll put that information here. Whether we have a cancellation fee, you'll put that there. We had that question yesterday. If merchants do have a cancellation fee, usually we can take care of it for them. Okay, and we put that in there because we take that out of the deal so that we can pay for the cancellation fee to get the deal, but that information is there. Now, the one thing we do want to cover, though, guys, on this one page is that we do have, an item checklist. Now, we're going to cover this after we cover the paperwork, but what this checklist is a checklist of the documents that you would need to collect alongside or additional with the application that you fill out, okay? Now, you'll need these documents, guys, even if we, for example, if we miss a copy of the driver's license, we still cannot submit the deal. Okay, if we got everything perfect, we got all the other documents and all the other app, but if we miss the driver's license or an ID, we still can't submit the deal. So it's really important to understand that, guys, that we need to include all this information. Okay, and what we need for each one of these deals, guys, is a copy of a driver's license or a photo ID. Now that needs to be a U.S. photo ID. It can't be a passport from another country. It's got to be a U.S. photo ID. We need a copy of the business license or tax certificate. Okay, usually that's on the wall. And if they don't have a business license and you're in one of those states, then you can take a picture of a tax certificate they have. You'll also need a copy of a business voided check. Okay. You'll also need a copy of the front of the business or a picture of the front of the business and a picture of the inside of the business. Now, guys, this doesn't need to be Picasso's work here. All right. Just a simple picture of the front and the inside of the business will work. And then you'll need 3 months previous processing statements. Now, if the merchant hasn't processed before, then they're not going to have 3 months bank statement or processing statements. So what we'll get from them instead to get the account approved is we'll get a 1 business bank statement. Okay, and we'll cover these documents one more time as we go through the training again. Okay, so that's the first page. Just please note that it's on that page. The next page is going to be what we call the merchant application and agreement. This has all the company information, which is pretty simple. Guys, it's pretty self-explanatory on how to fill it out. The business address, the business corporate address. Now, this could be different than what we have as what we call the DBA, guys, or the doing business as. Now, the corporate address is going to be the one that's listed on the business check. All right. Now it could be Carson Cook LLC, but I could also run, Cook's Pizzas. So my business name is Cook's Pizzas as my doing business as name, but my corporate name is Carson Cook LLC. All right, or Carson Cook Incorporated, or Carson Cook Sole Proprietor. All right. Now we'll need the federal tax ID number for that business. Now please note, guys, the federal tax ID number is 9 digits. Okay, it's not the state number, it's the federal one. It's always 9 digits, and it's separated with the first 2 numbers, and then there's a space. Okay, so just make sure you take note of that, guys. If you want to Google federal tax ID number, it'll give you kind of a description of it. We'll also need the merchant's social security number or the signer of the account, okay, the owner of the business, whoever's signing for that deal, which doesn't necessarily even have to be the owner, guys. It still could be, if they're on the business license, it can be a partner. It can be a president of the company, doesn't really matter. We have the check or the account number and the routing number listed right here. They have 2 signatures and then the dates at the bottom, okay? The next page is going to be the merchant services agreement. This explains the program in detail. There's notices that they don't pay interchange. There's no rates, that we're going to do the 3.75%, which is listed here and here, and then the signature at the bottom with a date, okay, and then you leave it there, all right? The next page is what we call the disclosure page. The disclosure page has a lot of tax information on it, some of the compliance stuff. So with this page, just make sure that you put the name of the business, the legal name of the business there, and then they sign at the bottom, and then all the other information. Pretty simple. Okay. The next page, guys, is what we call the equipment share program page. This is for the $59.99 or the program cost. So this needs to be filled out very meticulously and very carefully. Now I want you to look at it and make sure that if it's on this paperwork, guys, you translate it to the other paperwork, right, the blank app. Now, they're very much sticklers about this paperwork, guys, which means that if we have one part of this missing, they're going to kick the deal. Okay, so for example, even if we miss the email address, they're going to say, please have re-signed, please resend back because there's no email address. Okay, so it's really important to understand, okay, that we have to have all this information very, very correct. Please note too, this says business phone number up here, and then on the next page, it's going to request a home phone number, so it has to be a cell phone number or an alternate phone number. There needs to be 2 phone numbers on these 2 different pages. All right. So the next page is a continuation. There's 2 signatures. The owner's information off the driver's license goes there. Okay, and that's the second page of the equipment share program. All right. The next one is the delivery and acknowledgement form. This one's pretty simple. Standard information you had on the other pages, and then they sign there, and then the owner's name goes there. All right. Then the last page, one of the last of the 3 pages, guys, that we have still to cover is one's called the merchant acknowledgement agreement. Okay, and what this page does, this page shows the merchant all the terms and conditions, and it shows them up here that there's no pricing for rates for Visa, MasterCard, Discover, discount rates. They're all crossed off, and they're all crossed off. There's no rates on this program. They're doing the DCD program, 3.75%. And there's convenience fee listed on there. So they're going to sign this page, and then they're going to initial at the bottom. Okay. Now that's the last of the pages that the merchant needs to sign, but every deal includes these very last 2 pages. Okay, and these 2 pages are very important. These are pages that you, as the representative, fill out while you're there with the merchant. Okay, and you fill these out. They don't require signatures, but they get submitted along with the deal. Okay, and the reason why these are very important is because of the same fact that I mentioned earlier, guys, that we want to make sure, all right, that the equipment is downloaded correctly. All right, now we'll cover that in a little bit, we'll cover that in detail a little bit more, but we want to make sure that with this download sheet, this DTI download sheet, okay, all this information that goes on this sheet is going to be how the program or the terminal is programmed. So if the program is programmed, for example, for IP, which means that you can plug it into the Ethernet cable or the internet, and the merchant has a phone line, well, the terminal's not going to work. Okay, we're going to put the program in there. They get the terminal, they're going to be mad because they'll have to re-download the same a program. They'll have to call customer service, do a reprogram. When you're there assisting the merchant with setup, it could be a headache. So make sure that you have this form filled out, and make sure it's filled out correctly. So it's the type of terminal that we're going to be doing. It's whether they want Wi-Fi, dial-up, or IP, right? So Wi-Fi is a terminal that will run off the internet's Wi-Fi source in their business. So it doesn't require another cable. It just requires a power source. The dial means that they're basically hooked up to a phone line. And then IP is the terminal would be hooked up to the internet. So they'd have an IP cord. Best way to do this, guys, is to look at the terminal they already have. They got a phone line coming out of it. They've got a thick cord coming out of it. That's the same thing you're going to set them up with. All right. Now, if they're a retail, if they need tips, this is where you're gonna write the merchant needs tips associated with it. If they're a restaurant, if they're retail, they want American Express, you're gonna check these boxes and say ship to corporate address. All right. Now, the next page, guys, the very last one, is what we call the PO, or the purchase order. This page is to be filled out very simply, just like this, for the number of terminals that we're doing, the type of terminal, and then the address is going to be shipped to. Now, the reason that this is so important, guys, on this page, ship to, is because we want to make sure this is correct. We've had issues in the past where we've put the old corporate address on there because that was on the business license, and the terminals got sent to a different state. If we lose the terminals, then there's no deal. Okay, so make sure that these terminals do cost a lot of money. Guys, make sure that's filled out correctly. So the address, and you say, well, where do you double check with the merchant? Where would you want the terminals to be sent? Then we can make sure that they're sent to that location or that spot. Okay, so the best bet with this perfect paperwork, guys, and this paperwork is to make sure to have it signed. Now, during step 5, you're going to pull the paperwork out. You're going to start filling it out with all the information. Okay, and then you'll bring the merchant back over. Then you'll have them sign the paperwork and flip the page. You'll have them flip each page. Okay, so it's you flip the page, have them sign it, flip the page, have them sign it, flip the page, have them sign it. Okay. So you collect the documentation while you're filling out the paperwork. You get them to sign it. You put it back in order. You put a paper clip around it. You can have them make a copy. You keep the originals, guys. You keep the originals. If the merchant can't have the originals, it's your document. They can have a copy of everything, and then you scan the paperwork in. You keep the originals, and then scan the paperwork in and send it to us along with the documentation. Now, just to go over it again, with the paperwork, what documents we need to complete the deal, we need a copy. Okay, what we need to do is we need a copy of their driver's license, a copy of a business voided check, a copy of their business license or tax certificate, okay, and we need at least one credit card processing statement or at least one bank statement to get the account approved. But if they want next day funding, so that's 24-hour funding, then we need 3 past months credit card processing statements. Now, if they're a new merchant with us, guys, and they just start credit card processing, they cannot get next day funding. Okay, they cannot get next day funding until they process with us for at least 3 months, okay, on the program. All right, so that is the perfect paperwork, guys. So you'll print this off and you'll put this in your pitch book or your 3-ring binder to assist you, with the paperwork. So do you guys have any questions before we move on with this section about the paperwork?
Is it common that they have those 3 months worth of statements on site?
Yes, most of the time they do, guys. The statements get sent to their business address. Sometimes they're online. So you can say, okay, great, well, let's do this. Let's get online. Oh, I don't have time right now to do it. You're going to say, okay, well, you know what? Why don't you do this? How about you put me in front of the computer? I'll get online for you. Give me your password. You go back to work, and I'll print off the statements. So, if they don't, then you can have them call their current company to get them sent over. But, guys, anytime you delay, it's still delaying the deal. But we need at least one statement to get them approved with this program. But most of the time, they do have them on site, guys. Good question. Any other questions, guys, on the paperwork?
No, just making notes.
Awesome. Okay, guys, so if there's no questions on it, like I said, don't worry too much. If if it's a little too much or it's a little out there, don't worry. You'll have a copy of the perfect paperwork to go over before you get in the field. All right, so it's going to be good. Now, the next slide that we're going to go over is going to say, well, this is kind of a pain in the butt. But yes, guys, it is. You get all the paperwork done, you get everything signed, you wrap it up, and you make a package. Now, how are you going to get the package to the office? Well, a couple different ways, guys. What we can do, okay, is you can take it to a local FedEx or your home or wherever, but get it to us as fast as possible with all the documents. You can scan them in, okay, tell them that you want every document scanned in into a PDF, including the picture of the business license and all that stuff, and you have it sent over in a PDF to either corporate@authorizedinternational.com, or you send it over to your national accounts director, you send it over to me, and then we get it processed. Now, one of the best ways to do this is that we have everybody, guys, all of our representatives download this app. Now, does everybody on here, this call, have a smartphone?
Yes.
You guys have a smartphone? Okay, so
Yeah.
Yes.
okay, perfect, guys. So go to the Play Store. Now, the reason we do this too is we want you to download this app. So the paperwork that you're supposed to send in to us, why don't you guys try sending it in via using Cam Scanner? Okay, it's a very cheap way to send documents. What you do is you download this app and play with it because it's a very good way to send in deals. What this application does is that if you put out the paperwork flat, you put it in order, you can take a picture of each page, make sure it's clear and it's readable, it's not blurry, and the light's good, okay, and it has to be very clear. It turns it into a scan. Now, if you can read it, we can read it, guys, but if you scan it in bad, then we can't read it, then the underwriting can't read it either. They'll ask you to rescan it. So make sure you scan it properly, but what it'll do is it'll comprise all of the pictures that you take, even the picture of the front of the business, a picture of the inside of the business, picture of the statements, and you put it all in order, okay, and you send it over. It turns it into a PDF, and it sends one file over to us, which makes it really easy to get it into underwriting and get the deal processed, okay? So one of the best things to do, guys, go ahead.
What's the difference on CanScan? What's the difference between the 99-cent and the free one?
Oh, to be honest with you, I have no idea. We have everybody just download the free one. The free one, I think the free one, and it has this logo too, guys. Be careful. There's a couple other ones out there that are like it but are not as good. It has this logo on it, this CamScan logo. You know, and I think the free, you can look at it, what the upgraded features are, but the free one is very simple, you know, the one that we use. You just take a picture, you know, it manages it all into one PDF. You can put in the corporate email, you can put in my email, guys, and save it, and then that way every time you take one, it just automatically sends it. All right?
Cool.
All right. So just wanted to cover that too real quick. Okay, so do you guys have any questions on CamScan at all?
No.
All right. Okay, perfect, guys. Well, what we're going to do real quick, guys, is we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to take about a 10-minute break. I know it's 15 or what is it? What time is it right now, guys? Where we're at here? My clock is way off. 10:45. We're going to take about a 10-minute break. We'll meet back here at 10:55. Okay, our time. Stay on the computer, guys, but we're going to go through the next part of the training, which is going to be the Google Drive. This will be our back-end CRM, as well as where you get your appointments, as well as the call center, and also, you know, where you get all this documentation. Okay, so we have a live presentation with this. So we'll go through that here in a little bit. So I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
All right, perfect, guys. Should be loading up there so you guys can see it. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here real quick. We're going to go ahead and get rolling with the next section of training, guys. This is going to be the Google Drive. It's going to be a live presentation. What this is going to be is what we use for our back-end CRM, as well as what we use for all of our documents. Where do we get everything? Where do we get everything that we just went over? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a live presentation to show you where you would get this information, or where you get for example, the perfect paperwork, as well as your pitch book, and then what you need to have printed off and ready for the field. Okay. Now, we don't have a CRM, guys. We don't use Salesforce. We don't use all that other stuff to, you know, because we don't want to keep it, you know, very complicated. It's very simple. We use our company email. When you log into your company email, that's your central source for your calendar, where you get all your appointments, where you have your Google Drive in your cloud, so you can submit deals. You can store your deals on your Google Drive. You also can get access to all of your documents, as well as you know, what you need to have printed off. If anything changes, same thing, guys. Sometimes we have paperwork updates. Sometimes we have different presentation manuals that come out, and all sorts of different things that come out, flyers. When they do come out, they're going to be loaded into your Google Drive, your automatic rep pack, and this is accessible to you on the cloud anywhere in the world. So it's a very simple system. We've even had situations where we've had some representatives in a couple of emergencies to where they lost all of their documentation and they're really far away from home. And I've done this myself too, guys, where I've gone into a business empty-handed with nothing. You know, suit and tie, hey, I lost all my stuff. We go through the presentation, we sell the deal, I get onto the merchant's computer, I log into my company email, I print off the application from their printer, use their pen, sign up the deal, collect all the documentation, use their fax machine to send the deal over, okay, and then leave the business. All right, so that's the good part about having access to this, that you always have an option, you know, to do this, guys, and print off paperwork, get it done with your Google Drive. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the Drive and as well as the calendar. okay, which is going to be where you would receive your appointments. Now, the first thing we're going to go over, guys, is going to be the calendar, okay, and then we're going to go over the rep pack, the two different things that you're going to concern yourself with. Now, the calendar is where you get your appointments. You'll also get an email notification sent to your phone if you can sync your phone with your email, okay. You'll also, guys, same thing, guys, you'll also get an email saying, will you respond, will you go, yes or no. Obviously, guys, you want to go to every single appointment, but you also want to be able to see it on your calendar as well. Now, when you prospect deals, guys, when you go out there in the field and you do self-prospecting, you set your own appointments, make sure you get them over to the call center, okay, so that what they can do, they're not going to call for you. They can if you'd like them to, but if you have a set appointment, they're going to put it on your calendar for you so that the call center doesn't get mixed up and set you with an appointment at the same time that you set an appointment for yourself. Okay, so that's one thing that's very important to do. We'll show you how to do that, guys, with the call center part, all right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up my company email right now, guys, so you can see my screen. Now I'm going to pull up my company email. Now, guys, you see when you get you turn in your paperwork and you get your company email from us, okay? You're going to see a screen just like this. You're going to see your email, standard email, Authorized International at the top left-hand corner, all right? You're going to see compose, all the standard issue email stuff. So this is my personal email. Now, what you're going to do to get access to your drive and also your calendar, okay, at the top of your screen, you're going to see a search bar. You're going to see where you log in and where you log out, the company logo all the way to the left. But you're going to see a little thing here that has 9 boxes. It looks like a little tic-tac-toe box, has 9 boxes. You're going to click on it. What it's going to do, guys, is it's going to pull down your apps. These are all Google apps that you can use with your email. So you can pretty much send any standard email, compose, send an email like regular Gmail. Now you're going to have 2 apps. Now you can move these apps around, okay? You can move them around and put them anywhere you want in there. But the 2 apps that you're going to be using, guys, are going to be the calendar and the Google Drive. So you can move those to the top. Just keep them up there. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, we're going to go over the calendar first. Now, when I click calendar, what it's going to do is it's going to open up a new window in my browser, just like this, okay? And it's going to show me, okay, what things that I need to touch base with, as well as what appointments that I have, okay? And the calendar is going to look like this. Now, you can view the calendar as by day, you can view the calendar by month, every 4 days, or the day as your agenda, but it's going to look just like this. This is a week view, okay, of the calendar, and these are things that I have to touch base with. For example, the morning conference call that I do, I have PEP in the morning with the call center. These are some of the appointments that I have to call in with, touch base with, and help out some of the managers out there in the field. This is my schedule right here, okay? Now, your appointments are going to read just like this. So when you do get an appointment, okay, in your calendar, just like this, you're going to get an email, but you're also going to be able to click on it like this. So Angelo has a hair salon appointment coming up at this time. So when you click on it, okay, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up the appointment. Okay, Angelo has a hair salon appointment Wednesday, July 12th at 2 p.m. Now notice, guys, this clock down here, this time it says 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., but it's not. It's actually 2 p.m. Because the time zone and how Google works, it'll adjust based off the computer that it was set on. Okay, so you want to make sure that you always check for the time in the title. That's the time that you go. Now if it says, for example, 2 p.m. CST and you happen to be an EST, don't pay attention to that, guys. It's going to be the number time in your title. It's going to be, if it's 2 p.m. CST and you're an EST or PST, whatever, it's going to be 2 p.m. your time wherever that zip code is. Okay. It's going to say the name of the appointment. This is for Autobahn Shopping Center, Ears in Glenridge. This is going to be the hair salon. The address is right here. So this is in Glenridge, Florida. Glenridge. All right. Actually, this is self-prospect, guys. Sorry about that. This is a deal he put on the calendar. Let me click on another one here. Let's see. This one should be set by the call center. So when you click on this appointment, guys, just like this, okay, it's going to pop up. You're going to go more details. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So as the name of the appointment, it's Nacho's Red Dragon Chinese Restaurant. It's at 3 o'clock CST. The address is 751 North General McCullen Drive, San Antonio, Texas, 78228. The name of the business owner's name is Nacho. Okay, the phone number is listed here. It says, talked with the owner, heard about the rates, and was super busy, and she says she doesn't have time to talk on the phone, so she wants to meet the rep in person. He also said he doesn't want to switch, but he will have a look into the presentation. Okay, Sutri, all right? So that's an opportunity for us to get in front of the owner, bring our sales pack, and sell the deal, right? So that's what your appointments are going to look like. Now, if I go back into my email, you'll also receive this, guys, is you'll receive a call center email too, and they look just like this. It'll say call center manager on them. It'll say invitation. It'll be the same appointment that was set for you right there. Okay, so do you guys have any questions on the appointments? We're going to go over the call center section, but any questions on how to read the appointments?
It's not reading, but or is this going to come later? Do we have the ability to switch appointments or no?
If the call center sets you with an appointment, guys, do not switch appointments. Do not call the call center. Don't call the appointment ahead of time. Don't touch it. Our job is to go there and sell it. But you're more than welcome to switch around your self prospects or whatever you prospect.
Okay.
All right. Good question though. Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, now, okay, this is an important part because this is where we get all of our stuff. We're going to go back up in our email to the drive, okay, and what I'm going to do is you're going to be clicking on your drive when you get your company email. It'll open up another browser, okay, and this is going to take you to your drive. Now, this is where you get all of your paperwork. It's where you get your presentation manual. It's where you get your perfect paperwork, and what we're going to go over, guys, is the rep pack. Okay, so if you see here, the rep pack is a folder. Okay, and the folder is filled with all the information you need, all the stuff you need to print off and all your resources for training. It also has a copy of this recorded training in there for you. It has a lot of different stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out. Now, when you go to your drive, guys, this is your cloud. This is where you store all your stuff. Now, when you go to your drive, guys, it's important to understand. When you go to your drive on the left-hand side here where it would usually say compose, this says your drive, right? Well, in my drive, there's going to be no documents at all for you. All right, there's not going to be anything in there. What's going to be in there is the rep pack, but that's going to be in the shared with me, and that's on the left-hand side. So when I click on shared with me, okay, there's going to be the rep pack. The only thing you're going to see in there, guys, is that folder called the rep pack. Now, what I'm going to do in this presentation, though, guys, is I'm going to go over the rep pack, which happens to be in my drive. Okay, it's going to be in your shared with me, but we're going to go over each folder. So this is what you're going to see in your drive, guys. You're going to see this right here. You're going to see the rep pack. Now, if I right click on this, guys, if I right click on the rep pack, you can actually download this to your desktop. You can click download. It'll download the whole rep pack to your desktop, and then you can have a copy of it on a flash drive if you need it, if you don't have internet somewhere, but you have that ability to have that. Now, the thing is, though, guys, this is a live folder, which means that it's updated constantly. So if there's a new set of paperwork uploaded and you're still using the old paperwork off your desktop, you make sure you need to delete the desktop, the rep pack on your desktop before you download the one that's current. But every time you're in here, this will always be current. Now, what we're going to do, guys, we're going to go over, we're going to go into the rep pack and go over each one of the folders that are in there, okay? So I'm going to click in there. Now, the folders and the documents in the rep pack, guys, are all going to be labeled according to importance. Just like the training, they're all going to be labeled numerically, 1 through 5, 1 through 6, 1 through 8. So then that way, it's pretty easy to go through each page and figure out what's important. Now, the first folder is called print instructions in the rep pack. And that's where you're going to get instructions to print all of the rest of the documents. The second folder is the training folder. This training folder is your resource, has all the sales documents as well as the recording to trainings, this PowerPoint presentation, a video on how to drive, all the information will be in there. Okay. This folder here is called the new merchant application folder. This is where you get all of your blank apps. So if the merchant wants a loan, the blank loan app is in there. If the merchant wants traditional processing, the blank traditional processing app is in there. If they want our program, your blank app is in there as well. If they want a high-risk account, the high-risk account app is in there as well. Okay? So the fourth folder, this is your pitch book folder or your presentation folder. So in here, there's going to be all the information you have for your pitch book, including the perfect paperwork and, the document on our company to show the merchant as far as for your pitch book. Then the folder 5 is going to be the sales document Dropbox. This is like a trash can, and it has all the documents in there. So we're going to go through each one of these folders real quick to show you what you need. So if I click on print instructions, it's going to open up the folder for you. Okay, what it's going to show you is 3 different things, and those 3 different things are going to be labeled 1 through 3. The first page in there, guys, is called the print instructions. If you print this one page off, it'll show you how to go through the drive, and it'll tell you, okay, in steps, what you need to print off from this rep pack. Okay, so it's a simple set of instructions for you right there. There's a welcome letter. There's some business cards. So if I go back out of the rep pack, now I'm going to go to folder 2, the training folder. Now if I go into the training folder, guys, this is where you're going to get all the training material I've already sent everybody. The self-prospecting guide, the objections guide, the steps of the sale. There's also hot sessions in here. There's also training PowerPoints. There's also the training recording. So this very same recording you're going through right now, it's in there as well. So that way you can go through it. You can make sure you study it, you know, and any off-time homework you want to do. Okay. Folder 3 is the new merchant application folder. This is where you find your blank apps. Now in this folder, there's 3 other folders. One's the processing, one is for the merchant loans, and then 3 is for the traditional processing. Okay, so if I go into the first one, the processing, okay, look right there, there's 2 PDFs. The first one is the traditional processing app, and the second one is the high risk app. Okay, so this is going to be the app that you're going to sign. Now if I click on that, it's going to show you a preview. This is the same thing that the perfect paperwork was on, guys. The same thing that we covered, the perfect paperwork. But if you notice, the whole thing is blank. Okay, so it's a blank app. You know, you print off 10 of these bad boys, put them in a paper clip. It's a new merchant application 9.1 PDF. All right. So if I go back out of the rep pack, okay, once again, now I'm going to go to the presentation manual. Now when I go to the presentation manual, guys, this is the folder that you would have all this stuff usually printed off and laminated. Now it does cost a lot of money to do that, guys, so we don't, you know, it's up to you on what you want to laminate or print off and use as a pitch book, but we do give you all the different stuff in there. So it's loading right now. Sometimes it takes a little bit to load, but if it doesn't load, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the folder real quick on the computer and just show you what is in the presentation manual. So in the presentation manual, guys, you're going to see this inside the rep pack number 4. Okay, is you're going to see the presentation master manual. You're going to see the merchant interview form. There's a separate copy of the DTI flyer that you can print off 20 of these flyers and hand them out, or 50 of these flyers, hand them out. There's a compliance guide. There's a self-prospecting journal. There's also a perfect paperwork. Okay, this perfect paperwork is what we covered earlier to show you how to fill out the paperwork. There's a leave behind sheet as well as referral sheet. So if I click on the presentation manual, guys, this is what it looks like. This is what you guys get to take out to merchants in your pitch book that you can show them. You know, here's our program, a little bit about the company, the clients we offer, the cash for discount program, 90% off, the patent that we have. So there's a listed one of the patents that we have. The numbers are right there. You can actually see the U.S. patent as proof, cost-effective program, terminals, and then get started. So it's a very simple document that you'd print off. Okay, so that is that. The second thing I wanted to go over was a compliance guide. So you'll have this here too, guys. So here's a letter from the state, the Attorney General of Texas, you know, on our program, saying it's completely fine. The Durbin Amendment as well, which is a federal document showing that the program's legal and compliant. It's also highlighted. Not only in this too, guys, there's also example statements. So example statements for merchants that we have in our portfolio from the past that show them their volume and what they pay. It's very low. There's $4 on that statement, $300 on that statement, you know, $100 on that statement. So very, very, very low for what the merchants used to pay. Okay, so that is in the rep pack. We also have the perfect paperwork, which we just covered, guys. So the blank filled out app to show you how to fill everything out. Okay, right there. That was the section we just covered. But that is what's going to be in. That is what is going to be in your rep pack. Okay, right there. Now, if I go back out of the rep pack now and I go to folder 5 is like your sales trash can. There's nothing in here numerically labeled. The only thing in here, guys, is just a lot of extra sales material for you, extra sales stuff. I'll go into that again. Sorry, hold on one sec. Is extra sales material for you, stuff that will help you in the field. Okay, so the conference call policy, we have cold calling 101. We have a list of high-risk merchants that you can sign up. We also have a bonus sheet in there. We've got you know, the Nepali Aid Fund that we do to help give back for the earthquake in Nepal. We have one of our call centers is located out there. We have the recurring billing platform page. So if a merchant wants to do reoccurring billing for the program, we have that there. Those pages there for a credit card. So we've got all this extra stuff in here, guys, which is really good and your benefit. You can play around with that later. So that is the rep pack. Okay, so I'm going to go back out of here. Guys, pop back onto the PDF for the training. And that is the live presentation. So do you guys have any questions? Any questions at all, guys, on the rep pack?
No.
Or the Google Drive?
I'm very familiar with Google Drive.
Perfect, guys.
Yeah, me too.
Now, the good part about that, okay, is that if you do have questions, there's actually this very same video, okay, this very same video in the drive that says how to drive. All right, so it's very, very, very good. So what we're going to do real quick, guys, we're going to move on to the next section. I'm going to see if the call center manager is available just to cover a few different things right here, guys, so stay on. The next part is about the call center. So give me about 2 minutes. It should be available. We're going to bring him in here too, guys, on the call center to let you know how they work, how to read appointments, a little bit about the expectations, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so give me 1 second, and we'll pop right over to the call center manager.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic training out there. My name's Britton. I used to work with the call center directly. I used to be the primary manager for the Authorized International Call Center, but nowadays I actually only oversee it part-time. Today, Carson asked me to pop on really quick with you and talk to you guys about our opportunities and our leads that we will be providing you while you're working with our products. So really quick, before we get started, I want to just give you a background on appointments and how they work a little bit. Now, with most companies in the processing space these days, they don't provide appointments, and the reason is that they're very difficult to get. Processing appointments are typically purchased from third-party call centers, and the quality of them is very low. With us, what we do is we actually have 2 proprietary call centers that produce appointments only for us, and that means we have a much higher quality of appointment than you'll see with other processors that you might be working with. In the past, we've actually worked with third-party appointments, and they weren't very good quality. So what we've actually done is we increased the quality of our appointments, and we kind of decreased a little bit the number of leads that we provide each representative. Now, what that has done is it's actually made the appointments cost a little bit more. So what you guys have to understand about these leads that we're giving you is that they are pretty expensive. So we expect you guys to, be ready for them, be prepared for them, understand the product, be properly dressed, have all of your documentation, and be on time when we do provide these to you. Now, when I say leads and I say appointments and I say opportunities, you guys have to understand that we're not selling the product over the phone. And what I mean by that is we're giving the merchant very cursory information about the processing that we provide. So basically, the merchant will only really know that you're from a processing company called Authorized International, that you're going to be charging them between $60 and $80 a month, and that you're kind of selling a product that's very different from other products. They won't know about charging the customer. Okay, so I want you guys to understand that very specifically. They will not know that you're charging the customer. Okay, and the reason that we have outside representatives is because that particular piece of information is much easier to sell to the merchant in person after you've built rapport. If we try to give them that information over the phone, they typically are not interested just because we can't build as much rapport as you guys can in person. Okay. One of the other ways that you're going to want to break that particular piece of information to the merchant is to make sure that you're, doing that manager call right after, in step 5. So make sure that you're staying in touch with your manager at the appointment at all times. Now, like I said, and at the bottom of the slide, it says, go to every opportunity and be on time. Yeah, that's pretty important. So make sure that you guys are going to every appointment. Remember, these are costing us quite a bit of money, approximately between $60 and $100 per opportunity, and be on time for your appointments as well. The merchants are pretty busy, so if you're late, sometimes they'll get busy with something else or they'll leave. And obviously, you can't sell a deal if the merchant's not there. So please be on time. Let me just scroll down here. Okay, now, again, it says that opportunities cost about $100 per appointment. So we pay for that. You guys don't actually pay for the appointment. So this is a free service that we're providing you at cost to us. Be prepared. That means make sure that you guys are dressed appropriately and you have all your documents. This last week, we actually lost a deal on a very good appointment because the representative did not have all his documents printed out. The paperwork wasn't there, which is sort of a ridiculous reason to lose a deal. The merchant just didn't have time to sign. He didn't have time for the representative to go get the paperwork again, and we actually lost that deal. We just couldn't get in front of the merchant again, and the representative lost, his commission there. So make sure that you have everything printed out before you go in. Make sure you're touching base with your manager before each appointment. That's required just to let us know that you're actually going to each one. If you're not able to do that, then we won't be able to provide you appointments. When you get to your appointment, please take a picture of the front of the business. If you complete the paperwork, you will need a picture of the front of the business to turn in along with that paperwork. At the end of the appointment, make sure that you have at least one line of notes either in your head or written down or emailed to us or given to your manager about what happened at that appointment. We keep track of every lead that we generate, and we'll be filling that into the CRM either as a callback or a reset or a closed deal or whatever it is. So make sure you guys are providing us notes and feedback on everything we do. At the end of the day, you'll be working on those right daily activities with your manager. So keep those notes together, and then you'll be giving it to them. Okay, now there's a big red bold text there that says you will not get any more appointments if you break the rules. Okay? And that's really serious. And the reason is we have many, many, many representatives out there in the field, and appointments are costly and they're difficult to get. So we only provide appointments to those representatives who are following all the rules and who are, prepared for those appointments. So please make sure that you're following these rules that I outlined for you guys here, and we'll keep providing you with leads. Okay. Let me scroll down a little bit here. Okay, I had to bump down a little bit, but if you guys take a look at your screen here, I get a lot of questions on how to actually read the appointments when you receive them. So after we've generated that lead for you, it's going to go to your Google Calendar, which will be assigned to your email address. You're going to have access to this. Your manager will assist you with getting logged in and all that on it. But if you take a look at the appointment here, you can see that at the very top, of the appointment, if you look there, there's like a red save button, and then underneath that it says John, RPODS Auto Service, 9 a.m. CST 3rd, okay? That's the master list of information for the appointment. And so the representative name come first, then the name of the business, then the time and the time zone and the date, okay? So that's the master list of information. And the thing that might get a little messed up there is that your appointment on your calendar might look at a different time, just might be placed a different time in your calendar because we work in 6 different time zones. And Google Calendar can sometimes put a 9 a.m. appointment at 10 a.m. just because it gets confused and it thinks it's a EST appointment or MST appointment or something like that. So make sure that you're going to your appointment at the time that it says in the title. So this appointment is actually scheduled for 9 a.m. CST. That's the time the representative should actually be at the appointment. Okay? Now underneath that, there's an address. That's the address that you'll be meeting the merchant at. And underneath that is the name of the merchant's phone number, and the notes for the appointment, okay? Anything the rep found out on the phone will be written down there. So if they found out their processor, their volume, or their percentage or anything, it's going to be in the notes down there. Underneath those notes is the name of the caller who made your appointment, because we do keep track of the quality of every appointment, and we let you know, who's calling for you, so you can keep track of it as well. On the right-hand side are all the people that were actually invited to the appointment. So you can see my name there, John Gulick, that was the guy who was the representative at the time. Bibu, that's Bob, one of the managers. The call center manager, and then Carson was invited on that appointment. Okay. Now, some key notes that you might see in the title as well might be mobile. That's a mobile appointment. That means like a food truck or something, so you need to call in and confirm the location of the food truck before you go there. No CMS means the merchant statement was not available. It's not a big problem with DTI in the past, but traditional it was. Reset means we moved it on the calendar. Rescheduled means that we need to call and make a new appointment. That's a follow-up, a callback, or no confirmation means that we couldn't find the address on Google. You won't see many no confirms because we actually don't allow those very often. So now, before I pop off, does anybody have any questions about appointments or lead generation?
With how much time in advance these appointments will be made?
They'll be made now. appointment setting always works better if we make them 24 hours in advance of the appointment, and they'll be on your calendar by about probably 12 to 20 hours before the appointment. So like one day ahead.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
Is there a protocol as far as when appointments to the call center are scheduled? Is there a time period?
Yes. Do you mean with regards to your schedule or the way we call them?
As far as our schedule, is it like between like 7 a.m. and 5 or 8 and 5 or 8 and 5:30? Is there a point not to go? It's just,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in terms that things I need to do in the morning as far as getting kids to school and picked up. And so is there a protocol as far as time schedule?
Yes, and what will happen is the sub-manager, his name's Ryan, he'll be reaching out to all of you guys before you're actually on the schedule, you're on the call schedule, and he's going to take your zip code and your availability schedule. So you guys can choose your own availability. Okay, so it's up to you when you want to take appointments. We'll schedule them within the time that you can make it.
Sounds good.
So yeah, like I said, these are
Okay.
No, go on.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that because the opportunities are pretty costly, we try to make sure they fit into your schedule too. If we have a lot of conflicts with your schedule, then obviously you won't be able to make them, and that doesn't help anyone. So we're pretty flexible.
Yeah. Academic. Listen, if someone needs to travel for whatever reason, sometimes I need to attend personal interest in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I live in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
But I travel to Texas with a certain frequency, probably 6-7 times a year.
Okay.
And I may spend in Texas sometimes 2 to 3 weeks at a time, which could be time that I'll be willing to continue working.
Okay.
Could you accompany my schedule, my personal schedule, and help me with these kind of appointments and follow up in that region, for example?
Yes. So we do.
While I am there.
That's right. Yeah. No. Totally. We can. We do ask that you guys give us about 24 hours, maybe 48 hours advance notice before you make a big move like that, so we can pull leads for you. Because we do purchase those. So we'll purchase some leads for you, and then we'll just get your schedule, and we'll start setting you appointments wherever you are. You can basically travel and work wherever, whatever state or city you want to work in. That's totally fine.
Okay, and just keep you posted on my moves, and you go along with me.
That's right. And we actually will also assist you guys with calling back previous appointments or self-prospects or collecting documents, whatever you need. The call center is very, we have a very flexible call center because it's our call center. So we can do all sorts of stuff that other call centers probably don't provide you with. So if you have a merchant that you need to pick up a statement from, we can help you get the statement. If you have self-prospects you need to get in front of the owner, we can help you call them back. We can reschedule stuff for you. There's all sorts of things that we can assist you with. So if you ever need something that has to do with an appointment or a lead, call us up and see if we can help you out.
So for example, I'm based out of Las Vegas, and then I have some smaller markets, like if I wanted to drive up to Pahrump, which is an hour away, I could have say, hey, can you pick a day 2 weeks out and schedule appointments in Pahrump?
Yeah, totally. You can, but remember that we only call 24 hours ahead just because the appointments are way better quality. So if you give us a day a couple weeks out, which is fine, you can put it on your schedule. We won't give you appointments there until the day before.
Yeah, no, that's just for an example because I'm sure that's probably an untapped. I mean, some of these smaller markets are probably untapped.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you guys have unusual towns that you work in, go ahead and let us know, and we'll definitely make appointments for you. Now, sometimes it's helpful if you guys give us some leads, quotation mark. So if you Google or have like a phone book or business cards of businesses that you want to go into, or a category of businesses that you really like to work with. Carson used to be the #1 representative for auto repair companies. I mean, he sold those all day long. So if you guys have something you really like to work with, let us know, and we're going to help you call those particular businesses. Or give us business cards. We'll call the business cards as well.
Okay, very good.
So, yeah, whatever is needed. Any other questions, guys?
Not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, later.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I'm gonna pop off with you guys now. I'll let Carson jump back on. Just heads up that you'll be getting a call from Ryan, the call center manager, as soon as you have your new email account and everything ready. And he'll just be taking that schedule information from you, and then whatever category of business you like to work with. So just a heads up on that. All right, cool.
Okay.
All right, guys, good luck out there. I'll be talking with you again soon.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Are we back? We're back on here. How was that? How was the presentation?
It was good. Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Awesome, buddy. Okay, guys. So just to be track of that too, guys. I'm not sure if you covered this section. Usually I kind of cover this. Before we take a quick break and we get into the next portion, which is the review, and then also the role playing and the hot sessions. Just a couple different things, guys, about sales expectations. We don't set quotas and we don't have deal counts and that kind of stuff, which is really good for us and really good for you guys out there in the field. But we do have sales expectations. The biggest ones out there, guys, is that if you are available, you want to make sure that you have very good communication with the back end office. Okay, that means that having the ability to text, have a smartphone, and have the ability to communicate via email, computer. I have all my guys download Skype on their computer, and then we add them, so in that way it's faster than texting, and I can text anywhere at wherever I'm, either traveling internationally, working with the call center, or traveling, locally, or down south in South America, wherever I'm going. I can text just as fast over Skype, no matter where I am, with you during an appointment, as opposed for a manager call and getting the information over the underwriting department. Okay, so that's an application that we use. Make sure that you have a driver's license and a car. Guys, we do have a conference call that you guys will start getting on tomorrow every morning at 8 o'clock PST. Okay, so PST 8 o'clock every morning, we'll have a conference call, all right? So make sure you log into that. You'll get an email about that. You guys will be added with your company email to that list and get an email notification every morning for that. It's a very quick call. It's about 10 to 15 minutes max. We go over the previous day's sales as well as a brief ongoing training or conference call topic that we cover. Gets you refreshed for the day before we get out there in the field. So that's at 8 o'clock PST. The last one too on sales expectations too, guys, is that you'll be working with a national accounts director. Now these guys have been in the field. The people that work with you that are going to be calling you, you guys will be working on my team. Some of the other people will be working on some of the other teams, and I'll be working with you guys for a couple weeks as well, guys. But is the manager call and the involvement with underwriting and getting them to that step. So good communication with your national accounts director, guys, is key. Everybody that works with you as a national accounts director has a lot of experience closing these very deals. Okay, nothing's been changed or different. They're going to do everything possible on the phone with you to help you close a deal. So it's important to have good communication with them. Okay. Another thing too, guys, we go over this. This is your daily report. We do a Write Daily Activity Sheet that your national accounts director will go over with you. It helps you prospect. It gives you your analytics for what you're looking for prospects as well as appointments, and also has a little calculator at the bottom to kind of show you what your projected income is for that, for that week or for that many deals that are closed that month, right? For that particular week, and it's per day. You fill that out at the beginning of the morning with your national accounts director in the afternoon, and they get that report sent out to you by the end of the day. So it's going to really help you guys kind of figure out what our sales expectations are too. Okay, so like I said, there's deal requirements. Please make sure, guys, you understand that. As far as for the appointments and the opportunities that you get, it is our opportunity to get in front of those guys and close deals. So appointments are definitely a privilege. So make sure you treat them like gold, and we get in there and we add to our business drive. Okay. So any questions on that, guys, before we take
next section of training, guys, which should conclude this video and also training on day 2. This is a very, very important part of training, guys. It's important in the fact that it's how we prospect, how we sell these deals, how do we get the opportunities to make this kind of money. Okay, well, we have to work, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about prospecting. We're going to talk about the prospecting mentality and the mindset. Now, I completely understand where everybody is. I'm a professional salesman myself, and one of the worst things that I used to hate to do ever was prospect. I hated it. Okay, I love to take my appointments, and I said, you know what? I'm going to increase my I'm going to increase my closing percentage. I'm going to kick ass with every appointment that I get. I'm going to master that. And after I mastered that, I got bored of it. I got bored of it because sometimes I wouldn't have a day with a lot of appointments. So what would I do? Well, I'd want more opportunity. And what I noticed is that I actually raised my income by $5,000 to $10,000 extra, $5,000 to $10,000 extra per month just from doing this, just from prospecting. Okay, just from prospecting, that's a hell of a lot less gas than I used to spend. Okay, so it's important to understand this is key. It's essential, is that we need to learn how to prospect. And what I didn't notice too is that with my deals that were self-prospected, they were a lot easier to close, extremely easy to close. After I perfected closing in the hardest, some of the hardest appointments, I've had a lady throw a can of beans at my head. 2 hours later, I walk out with a deal, or 3 hours later, I walk out with a deal. I've had merchants that were completely weird. They invited me over to watch their kids, and I met them that morning. Trust me, you're going to meet some very interesting and very weird people, but that's the beautiful part about this job, okay, is the fact that it's a communication job. As a professional communicator, that's the part I enjoyed, is talking to people, okay, and I looked at it as a challenge. Sales is a challenge. Okay, not only is it a challenge, but when you prospect, you get to meet new people. You are going to get rejection, okay? And rejection is completely fine in sales. Doesn't matter, okay? It's opportunity, and when you look at opportunity, then we're going to talk about numbers. Now, in numbers, that means that the more businesses that you visit, the more deals you close. The more deals that I close, all I know is I get a bigger paycheck. That's it. I close more deals, I make more money. Close more deals, I get more money. There's no cap. There's a say, Carson, you can't close more than 60 deals a month. That's not out there. So how do we prospect? Why do we prospect? I used to hate it. But with prospecting, the DTI program makes it very easy. If we walk into a business and sell traditional processing, in the climate of our industry right now and how competitive it is, if you walk in and you say, hey, how you doing? Yep, my name's Carson, and I'm local here, and I'm down the street, and I work here, and I just wanted to come in here and see if I could save you some money on your credit card processing. If I walked into 100 businesses and I gave that opening script, how many deals do you think I'd close? 0. How many appointments do you think I'd set? Out of 100, 0. Not one, unless I got lucky, unless they were looking. Okay, but you can't. The good part about this is that you can take a step back and just recognize that. So if we've got a bunch of people coming around to these businesses saying the same thing over and over and over, all you have to do is not do the same thing. That's it. You just don't sound like the other guy. Don't sound like the other salesman. Don't sound like the same thing that everybody's been through over and over and over, because it will not yield you results and it'll just make you frustrated. So what do we do then? Well, we look at it from a different perspective. We talk about a different script, and we use the one thing that you can get 7 out. If you meet 10 business owners, if you practice this pitch, and if you practice and you understand the DTI program, and you're just excited about it, as you should be, then you'll get 7 appointments out of every 10 business owners that you meet with this script. Why? Because we are the only ones to sell this, and it will get you in front of a business owner every single time. Okay? The only thing that has with this product, guys, is merchants are going to say it's too good to be true. Great. Well, I challenge you then. If it's too good to be true, I'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. You're going to love this. Guaranteed. In writing. Okay, fine. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We're going to talk about this script and how do you do it, but why do we prospect? Well, if we have an appointment at 10 o'clock set from the call center, we got another appointment at 4 o'clock, we have a lot of time. The average presentation of a deal, guys, is about an hour. Now, of course, if we sign the deal, it's a little bit longer because then you have to fill out the paperwork, but the presentation is about an hour. Now, if you sell that deal and make $500, okay, you sell that deal and you make $2,000, okay, then what does that tell you? That tells you that no matter what you have, that deal right then and there is the most important deal of your life. That's it. Not your other appointment, not your other whatever, I got to be somewhere else, I got to do this. Nope, that deal. Until you get paperwork, that's the most important deal. And it's important right now. So when we're prospecting is a must to receive appointments. In order to get appointments from us at Authorized International, you need to prospect. You need to get out there and drive business. The good part about it is we pay you more. You get a higher percentage. We don't have to pay the call center. We'd rather pay you for your hard work. We'd rather pay you for the gas money that you're spending going around and prospecting. But you have to make sure that when you're prospecting, you're doing it right. Okay? And it's not that hard once you've practiced it. Okay? Now, if we go to 5 businesses and you don't set any appointments, okay, or you go to 10 businesses in one day and you don't set any appointments, you say, well, this is not working. No, it's not that it's not working. It's just you have to remain consistent at it. It's like going to the gym. That's like going to the gym 5 times and saying, shit, I didn't lose 150 pounds. I don't weigh 390 and bench 450 pounds. We've only been to the gym 5 times. The thing that's going to do it is hard work and consistency. With this product, we need to make sure that we're going to at least 20 to 30 businesses a day. Now, you think to yourself, and you're all saying this right now, that's a lot. I'm not going to have time for that. Your prospecting script is going to be about 15 seconds. It's an elevator pitch. That's it. You say it, you set the appointment, you get out. Right? If the business owner's not there and you don't want to waste your time with the gatekeeper, you're going to give him a flyer, talk to him about the program, tell him that he needs to see me, drop off some stuff. That gives you the excuse when you come back later to say, hey, did the owner get the stuff? That's it. So 20 businesses per day, guys, to 30 businesses prospecting is literally going to take you all of about 2.5 solid work hours. That's it. Now, yes, there's transportation and driving, but I like to work between the hours of 8 and 5 o'clock, and I bust my ass from 8 to 5 every day so that when it's 5 o'clock, I can go home. But at the end of the day, if not, then I have to keep working, then I'll keep working. But during my work hours, I work hard. Well, it's the same thing, guys. 20 to 30 businesses a day is not unreasonable at all. Okay, that should be your goal. 20 to 30 businesses per day. Top agents prospect and they set appointments. You need the combination of both. Okay. Not only that, we're going to give you the benefit of the appointments. If you're prospecting, you'll get more appointments. If you're prospecting, the call center knows about it. Our call center is not ran by machines. They're ran by people just like you, and they hear things. And the more deals you close, the more appointments you'll get. The more prospecting you do, the more appointments you'll get, the more deals you'll close. Understanding what you're selling, that's the biggest thing. It's like a light switch. When you have appointments from the call center or ones that you've set, your light switch is on. When your light switch is on, you're selling credit card processing. When your light switch is off and you're prospecting and you're not at appointments, you're not selling processing at all. What is the product that you're selling? The product that you're selling is an appointment. Okay? Which means you don't need to give them all the information about credit card processing. You're not selling processing, you're selling an appointment. You're going to sell the benefits of processing, give limited information, and go straight for the neck, go straight for the appointment. That's your goal. And it's not that difficult of a product to sell. It's an appointment. It's a conversation between you and another individual about something that's going to benefit them. That's it. Right? So that's your product. So what do I need to do? Well, if I was going to do the same thing with processing, I need to take a step back and construct an argument, construct a script, construct a thought process on how I'm going to sell this appointment. Not how I'm going to sell processing. Not the benefits of this, not that, not the presentation, not the paperwork. All I'm doing when I'm prospecting is setting an appointment for me to go in with my toolkit, that toolbox we talked about in video 1. The steps of the sale, we're going to bring that into the mix. So the do's with this section, you need to perfect the script. You need to study this script. Okay, we need to memorize this script. You need to make a list of who you know and where you do business at. You need to make a plan and you need to role play. Those are the 6 things that you need to do when you're prospecting. Okay, pick an area. All right. Pick an area, okay? And they say start with who you know first. Start with the easiest people that you do business with. Where do you shop? Where do you get your nails done? Where do you get your hair done? Where do I buy my suits from? Okay, where do I buy my cars from? Where do I buy this from? Where do I shop? Okay, what is my connection to that business owner? Who did I go to high school with that now owns a business? Who did I go to high school with that's a friend that knows my mom from the soccer place with my dogs, cats, fish, dog, whatever, right? Who is that? Write that person down so that you can walk in there and say, hey, my dog's fish cat dog thing went, with soccer and da-da-da. So anyway, I work with this company and, I got to show you this product and blah, 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 whatever. Do your script. Set the appointment. Go in. There's rapport automatically built. Okay, so those are the things that we need to do when we prospect. But when we do prospect, okay, if you do feel uncomfortable with starting a conversation with someone, then maybe sales is not the industry that you should be in. Sales is all about the person that does well, that can walk up to a group of people and 5 minutes later walk away with a friend. Okay? Now, but how do we get to that point? What are some of the tips and strategies that can help us improve our sales approach? Okay? Well, it's almost like what we call it, guys, is we call it the I don't give a fuck attitude. Pardon my language. Okay? I know I should be saying that in training, but I don't care kind of attitude. Now, we need to care about our customers and we need to care about our clients. But as a sales professional, you don't need to care what other people think about you, okay, as far as for how you present yourself. Well, that's incorrect, but we need to make sure, okay, that going forward, working with our clients, that we have that attitude, that I don't care attitude, that if I do something, then I'm going to lose the deal because of this. Okay, that non-caring style of attitude. Okay, now obviously we do need to care of how they view us. That's part of communication. That's also part of how they make decisions. We don't need to show up in our pajamas and whatever. You need to show up with a nice, very respectable, try and be as formal as you can, use the right language, take your time, slow down. Okay, you need to think on that end. But as far as for you not saying something because you feel reserved and you don't like talking to people, okay, that's an issue. All right, so how do we do that? Well, we throw the stage fright right out the window. Who cares? And guess what, guys? If you mess up, who cares? Right? If you don't think you have enough training, who cares? Right? This is one of those sink or swim kind of things. To prospect, you got to get used to it. Okay? For me to learn how to swim at 3 years old, my dad kicked my ass in the pool. Obviously, he was going to save me, but it scared me. But I learned how to swim in about 3 minutes. That's how fast I learned how to swim. Okay? So it's one of those. We have to prospect and prospect and prospect to learn. You got to get out there and get in front of business owners and try it out. The fastest way to train our callers in the call center is to get them on the phones. Give them a one-day training, get on the phones, learn from your mistakes, get on the phones. That's the fastest and best way to learn. And I don't know about you guys, but you don't have much time. We're going to get out there as soon as this training's done, and you're going to close deals. That's what you want to do. Okay? You need to truly understand the questions that you're asking your client. You need to understand how you come off to your client. You need to be patient. You need to be genuine. You need to be honest. And most importantly, you need to be yourself. Okay? The more comfortable you are in your own shoes, trust me, people can pick up on that faster than anything else. Okay? It's how we're designed. It's biology. It's how our communication techniques work, guys. It's how we are. If you're comfortable, the merchant will be comfortable. Okay? They'll mirror you. Okay? If they're not comfortable and you're comfortable, they'll come down. You need to listen closely to what the client says. You need to keep an open mind. You need to put yourself in their shoes. You need to build a relationship with your clients, and you always need to ask questions. Okay, if you're stumped on something, ask a question. Ask a personal question. Okay, give your body some time to think for a minute. All right, ask a question. Think about it. Okay, so those are some of the things that are going to help you when you're self-prospecting. Okay, is getting out there and doing it. The most important thing is to be yourself. Just be honest. Okay, be excited. Get started in the morning. Get excited. Now, what is the script that we want? Well, the beautiful part about this, guys, is that the DTI program that we have gives you a huge advantage. Okay, I tell you right now, if I went out there in front of 10 business owners to set appointments for traditional processing, I might get 2 or 3 appointments set out of every 10 business owners. Did the same thing in New York about 6 months ago when I went back in the field just for fun and closed 32 deals in 1 month by myself, put my vice president in charge of the office just for fun. Closed 32 deals, hadn't sold in the field for 4 months. 4 years. 3 years. 3 years. Got back in the field, 30 deals. Okay? Prospected and everything. Right? But, guys, with this prospecting script, this is the script that you use. Now, with the DTI program, the benefit you have now is out of every 10 business owners you meet, you should be able to set 7 appointments. Why is it so much different? Because everybody's selling the same thing. Everybody's selling credit card processing in the best rate. That's what they're already selling. Okay, but what do we have? We have the DTI product that's going to set me appointments like crazy. I have the only ability to save a customer 80 to 90% off their bill. Guaranteed, we put it in writing. That's all we're going to say. How does it work? Oh, I don't believe you. Well, don't worry about that. Trust me, you got to see it to believe it. So this is the prospecting script that you're going to use. Okay, when you go and you get in front of a business owner, and you have to pump some life into this. Okay. Now, people sell things differently. We understand that people sell logically. They sell monotone sometimes. Sometimes they're very cautious, courteous. They build a friendship. Guys, this prospecting script needs to be sold with excitement. So if you're not used to it, then you need to light a firecracker underneath your butt and get excited about this. And the best way to make you think that you feel excited is that same ratio I gave you before. If you had to sell traditional processing only, you're only going to get 2 or 3 yeses out of every 10. With this, you're going to get 7 if you do it right. So here's the prospecting script. Okay. Now, the first part of this script is to meet every objection off the bat. Okay, what's that objection? I'm too busy. Don't worry about it. We're happy with who we have. Get the hell out of here. You're another processing guy. That's exactly what they're going to look at. You're another processing guy. And if you come in here and you bullshit with me in my store about my stuff and then bring up processing later, I'm going to look like you're trying to trick me because you just want to be nice to me to talk about my stuff in my store just so you can get a presentation. Okay, so that happens too. So you can kick that prospect right out the window as well, guys, is that you can do that. But when you're prospecting in front of a business owner, they like to be straight to the point, especially with business finance. So what you do is you look very formal, you find the business owner, you walk up to the business owner, and you meet every objection they're going to have off the bat, which is what we can rely on. We know they're going to tell you they're happy with what they have. They know they're going to tell you no because they've been through this a lot. They know that they're going to tell you they're busy and they don't have time to talk to a salesman. That's it. We know those three things. So what I'm going to say is hey, John, how are you? Great. Listen, John, I fully understand that you're very busy and your time is very valuable, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I'm actually super busy myself. I have an appointment down the street in about 15 minutes. So I know. I know you get a lot of phone calls about this all the time. I know you have people coming around every 5 minutes to sell you something. I completely understand, but I truly have America's best patented processing program for you. Okay, it saves you about 80 to 90% off your bill, and it's guaranteed. Now, I don't have a lot of time to tell you more about it, but I do got to see you to get you qualified for it. So when can I see you? Can I see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock? Okay. John might say, oh, no, we're happy to have. Look, I know you're happy with what you have, but if you're not saving 80 to 90%, think of how much you pay. 80 to 90% savings guaranteed for as long as you're with us. Now, it's very important. I got to see you tomorrow. Well, it just sounds too good to be true to me. Look, I completely understand, but this is definitely worth your time, okay? So it's not going to take too long to get you qualified. We ask you a couple questions, same process you did before, but the only difference is it's patented only with us. So if 5 won't work, can we do 4 o'clock? You're going to give an example, okay? You're going to give an example of what time, and you're not going to say, will that be okay? You're just going to say, I'll be here tomorrow at 4. Will that work for you? Yes or no? Okay? So with that script, it's the same thing. We made every objection off the bat. Okay, we walk in, I see a gatekeeper over there. I'm going to go through this one more time with you. Okay, and I'm not going to read the script on the screen there. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so that you know, but it's the same thing over and over and over. A little bit out of place, but it's over and over and over, and it will get you an appointment. So I'm going to go over. I see some ladies that are working the front desk. I see one guy over there. They all have the same shirt on, but there's this guy in the back. He's got his own personal clothes on, and he's stacking boxes. So either he doesn't work here or he's the owner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over. I might talk to the gatekeeper, say, hey, what's the owner's name? And I'm going to point. They're going to say, oh, that's John. Okay, great. So it's John. I'm going to walk over and say, hey, is it John? Yeah, how can I help you? I'm going to say, hey, John, look, I can see you're stacking boxes here. Look, I know you're super busy, okay, and I know you get phone calls like this, or you get phone calls all the time about this, and I know you have about 18 people coming in every single day trying to sell you the same thing. Now, that's not what I'm here for. I mean, I'm very busy. I got an appointment down the street that I got to get to, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but John, I really do have America's best processing product, okay, credit card processing. Now, like I said, I know you get a lot of phone calls about it, and you're probably happy with who you have. I get that, but our program is used by Expedia, Orbitz, a lot of very big name companies like Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC. I get all that, but like I said, I don't have too much time to explain the whole thing. But it saves our customers about 80 to 90% guaranteed. Now, I don't care how much volume you do. I don't care if this is a big business, small business, whatever you paid before. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, it's 80 to 90% savings guaranteed in writing. Okay, so I can't tell you about it right now, but can I meet you tomorrow, like right around this time, maybe a little bit early, about like 2 o'clock? Will that work? That's it. Now, I don't give them an opportunity to respond. I don't give them the opportunity to give me an objection like I'm busy, I have this and that, we're happy with what we have. I just went for it. And they're going to say, yeah, really? 80, 90%? The best thing that you can get from this is, that's not true. That sounds too good to be true. When it sounds too good to be true, guys, it's perfect. That's a great response when you're self-prospecting because you know they're going to get the appointment. You're going to get the appointment. No, I know, and they're going to start probing you for information. They're going to start asking you questions. The best thing you can have right now is when that merchant asks you questions. Well, how does it work? Well, who are you guys again? Okay, all these questions are buying questions. And what you do is you put them off. You don't answer the questions. You set the appointment. Why? Because what are we selling right now? Well, sure as hell isn't processing. We're selling an appointment. Whatever route you want to go through, I need a guaranteed point in time to talk to this person to take them through our process because I know if I sell them right then and there, they won't buy it. There's always going to be an issue. It's the light switch. My light switch is off. I'm prospecting. I'm selling appointments, not processing. Okay? So that's the appointment script. So make sure that you go over this, guys, again and again and again until you have it down, just like that. Hey, John, look, that's a great shirt you have on. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so what are you here for? Well, look, I'm actually super busy. I got to get down the street. I got another appointment, another client that I'm working with, and I know you get hit up for this all the time. You're super busy, so I won't take up too much of your time. But I do have America's best processing product, and I haven't even mentioned credit cards yet, guys. Notice I haven't mentioned credit cards because I need to get my presentation off. So I say, and you get calls all the time, John, I completely get it, but it's America's only legal discount program. We've got patents on it. It's going to save you 80 to 90% off your bill. You might say, well, what bill are you talking about? It's credit cards. Oh, don't worry. We're happy with that. Look, I know. I told you. I know. You're happy with who you have, but you haven't seen this yet. It's patented. Ace Hardware, Gold's Gym, PF Chang's work with us. It's a great product. It's been tested in Orbitz and Expedia online. You're going to love it. I don't have time to tell you about it, but it's 80 to 90% guaranteed off your bill. So if you pay $1,000, it's $100 now. It's below interchange. Okay, it's awesome. There's no interchange. There's actually no rates. But let me talk to you about it tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Will that work? No, 6 won't work. Okay, what about next Wednesday? Will Wednesday work at 5? Great. Okay, great. Well, John, perfect. I'll see you at 5. Shake their hand. Say, look, bring your business license, bring your driver's license, avoid a check. You're going to love the program. I'll see you then. Sound good? Great. Awesome. Bye. So stay focused in on that, guys. Now keep an idea around that script. Write down that script. Pause this video. Write down that script. Practice, practice, practice. That's how you prospect. That's how out of 10 business owners that you meet, okay, you're going to get at least 7 appointments. And out of those 7 appointments, you might close 4 to 3 deals. 4 to 3 deals off of 1 day's worth of work, okay, is $3,000 to $4,000. It's not a bad day. $3 to $4 grand net profit in your pocket. Guys, you make more profit margin with these deals than any business owner you're going to meet. That's the funny part. Restaurateur makes 15 grand a month selling $100,000 worth of food. Okay? Your profit margin working with Authorized International is higher than most of the businesses you're going to sell to. So that's what you're working for. You're working for profit margin. All right? 30 deals a day. 30 deals a day keeps the doctor away. They're easier to close. When you self-prospect, okay, I just want to drive to an appointment and sell a deal. No, guys, your self-prospected appointments are 40% by numbers, 40% more likely to close than if the appointment was set by the call center. Now, it's not the call center's fault. They set great appointments, just like we mentioned too before. It's just the fact that you opened up that initial conversation and that communication happened between you first. That's what really sets the tone for the appointment. Okay, they're easy to set appointments. Okay, it's just hard to get off your ass. Now, pardon me on that training, but it's true. The hardest part about self-prospecting is like the Nike slogan. You just got to do it. That's it. It's just do it. Just go out there, get in front of business owners. If you have a bad day, you have a bad day. Guess what? You have tomorrow. It's not a bad day. You get in front of more people. You get in front of more people. If it's not working, then change it, right? Ask your national accounts director to role play with you. See if you're missing something, okay? But that's the whole point, is that we have to do it. We have to get off our butt, okay? Because the thing is, we say, well, hey, this isn't working out. I've closed 2 appointments off deals. I wanted to get 5. Well, I've only had 4 appointments, so our closing ratio is 50%. That's really good. But shit, I only had 5 opportunities from the call center. That's because we're not prospecting. You could have had another 8 opportunities and closed another 4 deals and made another 4 to 5 grand that week if we would have just prospected. So please make sure that you fill your pipeline and you do it. It's the main focus, guys, with prospecting. With this script, it's easy. Now, we have to look at it this way, is that our deals are same-day close deals, but not when we're prospecting. When we're prospecting, guys, we need to look at this procedure like you're setting it up for a show. You've guaranteed to go to a movie with someone. Now you're going to seal the deal or something. I don't know, right? You set the appointment up. Now we can take our toolkit. Okay, these appointments that you set and the ones that we set from the call center, now the light switch is on. These are designed to be closed on the same day. Okay, and we can't stress it enough. Credit card processing is a same-day closed product. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, there are very, 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 very small amount of people that work in this industry that have any success by closing a deal after 3 or 4 times they've met that person. Very, very low. Doesn't happen. Okay, it's not a great follow-up system with a CRM that tracks every lead and has a conversation over 6 months just to close the deal. No. The top performers in this industry, the ones that own companies that are worth millions of dollars, the people that have been in the field that make $300,000 to $400,000 a year as a representative, they sell on the same day. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay, we've had sales experience. We've had sales guys that have been 45 years old. We have sales guys that have been 19. We've had sales, age is not a thing and experience is not a thing. What sells deals is what's on the books, what numbers. And these deals are sold with a maximum of a 2-call close. It doesn't mean you don't follow up, but you need to start looking at different opportunities after that second appointment. If you can't close it within that second appointment, trash the appointment, move on, find someone else. Okay, because you're just wasting your time. Either they really want to talk to you or they want to think about it. But there's no such thing as thinking about this product. The DTI program is not something to think about. Selling America's best processing program now with the mentality of selling it yesterday. Shit, I should have been here yesterday. You should have signed up way earlier. Processing is like electricity. Okay, it's a good explanation to your customer. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that's if I was an electricity company and I came in here and said that, hey, you can use our power, same power that you have next month, same power you're going to use next month, but it's going to cost you 50% less. Okay, you're going to have a 99% closing ratio because it's power, not processing. The funny thing is it's the same damn thing. It's exactly the same thing. It's just that people are selling more processing than electricity. Okay, so just understand that processing is a need, not a want. If you're selling a want, yeah, they probably need to think about it. And I'd be working in a sales industry where they want a want, and I'd fill up my pipeline and probably touch base with someone at least 12 times. But this, no. I touch base with you 2 or 3 times. I'm here to help you. I'm here to put money back in your pocket. There's nothing to think about. That's it. Okay? So communicate with the call center. Please make sure that when you do set your appointments, okay, that you do communicate with the call center. I want to bring this up too before this, we end this section out, is that you don't want to be double booked. Okay? So when you do set an appointment, when an appointment is set for you, okay, or you set a self-prospect, get the information over to the call center. Okay, that way they block that part out for you. They'll block it out any day of the week. They'll put any kind of notes in there you want. That way when the call center calls for you, you might have 2 or 3 appointments you set in the morning, but nothing in the afternoon. But we don't want our call center to set you with 3 or 4 more appointments in the morning and nothing in the afternoon. So please make sure, guys, communication when you're self-prospecting is key. Now, we don't need to know the information off of it. We just need to know who they are, where they are, and what time they are. And we'll put it up on your calendar for you. You don't even need to do it. So make sure you talk with your national accounts director. Not only that, the call center manager, Ryan, will be calling you guys pretty much every day, or at the end of the day say, hey, do you have any prospects for me? If you do, then they'll give them the information. Great. I'll put them up on your board. Awesome. Are you open tomorrow? Sure. The call center manager is going to be in great contact with you to make sure that your schedules align. Okay, very important. All right. So other than that, guys, that is going to be prospecting, just some of the key points. So what do we do with our prospecting? Make sure that you write down this prospecting script. Same thing. You find a friend, you find a mirror, and you practice over and over and over until you feel a little bit comfortable. Then when you're a little bit comfortable, you graduate to level 2. Go find some burner merchants. Now, what I mean by burner merchants, burner customers. Customers that you cannot set your expectations too high with. Customers that you know that you're not going to close. Customers that you could care less if you close them or not. And what you're going to do is you're going to go prospect them. You're going to walk in, no fear, who cares? If you close it or not, you set an appointment or not, no one cares. The whole point of this is an exercise to train you to get used to your script. You're going to walk up to that owner, you're going to try and pitch them, you're going to set the appointment, you're going to move on. If it doesn't set the appointment, fine, you learn from it, you go to the next place and you do it again. And we keep doing it until we get an appointment. When you get an appointment, you get pumped up, you get excited, leave, go to the next business, keep rolling. All right, so write this down, study, 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 practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect, okay? So that is the conclusion, guys, of training day 2, okay, technical and field. Please make sure in this video, if you go back to video 1 or video 2, that you review all the sections and get ready for the quiz. Now it's time for you to do the quiz, okay? So click on that link. You'll be clicking on the link that was provided to you in your email. The quiz should pop up as a Google Sheets in your email as in your browser. It'll open up. Please make sure that you answer every question right. You can also have these videos up while you take that quiz just to make sure that you get 80% or above. The score must be completed with 80% above to pass. You complete before moving on to the next sections. If you miss a question, then we'll have to go back in the video. Okay? If you get lower than 80%, then what you'll have to do is you'll have to retake the quiz, go through the videos again, find the answer, and then go through. So please make sure that you get that completed before training day 3, which is tomorrow. And then we'll have the conclusion with the test and the test and the hot session checklist test after. So other than that, guys, thank you for joining me training day 2. Very excited again, too, guys, to have you on the team. Looking forward to this. If you have any questions, please write them down. Send me a personal email or send your national accounts director an email, and we'll make sure that we get those questions covered. So other than that, I'll see you guys here in a little bit.